Welcome to Instant Replay for MLS Match Day 3. I'm your host, Andrew Wiebe, and as always, we're taking a closer look at the most controversial refereeing decisions in Major League Soccer. And we start with a big play in the Charlotte-Austin game, 23 minutes in. This is going to be a red card after review on the Austin FC defender, Biro. Now, more so than the Antonio Carlos tackle from a week ago, this just feels really unlucky to me. I felt Carlos came to get a piece of sun from behind. I don't think that holds true here. It's more of a guy pulling and fighting for position who just happens to step on his opponent in the heat of the moment. However, if you listen, watch, know anything about this show, you know that intention is not a consideration under the laws, and unlucky doesn't equal not a red card offense. What the VAR Dana Radford saw here is a lunging forward step, studs clearly on the Achilles/back of the calf and ankle, full weight or close to it on that right foot, and the studs into said Achilles and ankle. And that equation adds up to endangering the safety of an opponent, whether Biro meant to do it or not. So I agree with the review and the final decision from Rosendo Mendoza, the referee. And I wonder, for those of you who disagree, how would you justify via the laws that this is not endangering the safety and not a red card? I'd love to hear from you in the comments on YouTube or on social media. One more decision from this game coming up later, but first, let's give some love and name recognition to an assistant referee that made a bang-bang, game-changing call live and got it absolutely spot on, in my opinion. Ben Pilgrim was the AR2 in the New York City beatdown of Orlando City. A big part of that beatdown was that Orlando were down a man for most of the match. Why? Because Pilgrim caught Maxime Crépeau, the Orlando goalkeeper, handling the ball outside of his area. See how Crépeau holds on to this a couple beats too long as he leaves the boundaries of the 18-yard box. A clear denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, dogso offense, as it prevents Nico Fernandez from running onto a through ball that would have had him either 1v1 with Crépeau or facing an empty net. Good catch by Pilgrim on this one. It's the correct call, in my opinion. All right, let's go to Sports Illustrated Stadium for an early penalty decision that saw disagreement between the referee, Sergi Boyko, who called the foul on the field, and the VAR, Yunus Marachi, who sent Boyko to the monitor review, only to have Boyko stick with his original decision. I am firmly with the referee on this one. Justin Shea is, well, he's out of control. Yes, the Red Bulls defender gets an ever so slight touch on the ball, but he runs over the Montreal attacker like a runaway train immediately after. I mean, he absolutely trucks Ivan Jaime. The touch on the ball, which is glancing and in my opinion quite fortunate, does not negate the foul that immediately follows. Ask yourself, which is the more impactful action? The glancing touch that barely changes the path of the ball, or the left leg and body of Shea across and through the body of the attacker, completely taking Jaime out of the play? I was very surprised to see this get sent for review and glad to see the call upheld. Remember, getting the ball does not mean a foul was not committed. There was one red card I thought was missed this week, and it was in the LAFC FC Dallas game. In the 60th minute of that win for LAFC, I've got a clear and obvious serious foul play challenge on Ramiro for this lunging foul on Mark Delgado. Referee Drew Fisher goes yellow on the field, and I can understand why, but in my opinion, VAR Jose Carlos Rivero should have absolutely sent him to the monitor to upgrade this to red. Straight leg, high, laid, studs exposed with significant force into the plant ankle of Delgado. I've got that as excessive force and endangering the safety. Remember, you only need one of those for it to be serious foul play. For me, Ramiro should have been sent off. Here's a no penalty decision likely to split the audience. Ezekiel Aladoa wants a foul on Oseni Buda in the Union's loss to San Jose, and I see why he wants it. Buda seems to challenge from behind, and the contact, well, it's not insignificant. Armando Villarreal, the referee, waves play on, and it doesn't go to review. Me? I'm okay with this not being a penalty. I don't think the contact is really all that egregious, and I think Aladoa, well, as the Brits say, he makes a meal of it. He exaggerates the impact, and he goes down really easy. That's always going to be a, in the opinion of the referee moment, and I don't think there's a clear and obvious basis for review here. And I'm with Villarreal. I think play on is just fine. Now, for those of you in disagreement, I acknowledge that had this been called on the field as a penalty, it would never go to review either. It's an in-between one, so where do you stand? I told you we'd come back to that Charlotte-Austin game, and come back we have. I know where Dean Smith stands on the Charlotte goal that was called back for a handball on Brant Bronico. Producer Rich, run that clip.
If we're disallowing goals for that, the game's gone.
Dean was frustrated, and yeah, I get it, although they did win the game. In the end, this is a really difficult call to make. Live by Rosendo Mendoza, who gives the goal and then takes it back, or on video review by VAR Daniel Radford, who recommended review for a clear and obvious error. Let's start with what I absolutely know. This shot takes a deflection. I know that. You can see from the angle behind the opposite goal that the trajectory of the shot changes, though it suggests it could have deflected off Joseph Rosales, the defender in the situation. I also know via the angle inside the net that if it deflects off Bronico, the ball hit his elbow region, which would make it a goal scored directly off the arm of an attacker and rightfully be called off. Ultimately, I've got this as a good review and a good reversal, and that comes from the synced up angles via the VAR output. In other words, what Radford and Mendoza are looking at in the situation. You can see that when the deflection occurs on the angle behind the net, the ball is in a position where it is in view from inside the net coming off Bronico's arm. To me, that is clear and obvious. Oh, and this is anecdotal, but I feel it confirms the decision. Watch Bronico's behavior after the play. He shows Mendoza how he tucked his arm, which to me says, yeah, it hit me, but... And there's no but here. If it hit his arm and went in the goal, it doesn't count. Either way, Charlotte won, and as always, refereeing is exceedingly difficult. I make it easy, depending on your opinion of my takes, thanks to the help I have on Instant Replay. Big shout out to Aldo Medina for collecting plays for me, and Rich Hernandez, my producer and editor. And as always, big thanks to you for 1, watching, and 2, saying something when you see something. Hit me up on social media if you see a call I should review for match day 4. I'm Andrew Wiebe, and we'll see you next time.